Hi everyone, this is Daisy here, aka Professional High Priestess, and today I wanted to make a channeling about delaying your healing process. So for those of you who are on a healing journey, and committed to your healing journey, you understand that this is like a everyday thing that we have to do. It's not just when we become traumatized or go through tower moments that we focus on our healing. The way in which that we actually avoid some of those tower moments or remain resilient through those tower moments is doing our healing every day and working our healing into our everyday lives as if it's like taking a shower or having your 3 square meals a day or going to work or going to school. It's a routine and it's a process, right? We may not have a perfect routine or a perfect process, but we do something every single day, whether that's prayer or chanting, whether that's listening to sound meditation or getting a spiritual insight from reading or listening to motivational words or doing a steam or a sauna or whatever it is. We do something at least once a day every day to stay on that healing process. It's kind of like putting coins in the spiritual and healing piggy bank, right? So that when things happen you can kind of like cash out. That's the analogy that I have for that. But you also heal every single day so that you understand the ways in which karmic cycles, family trauma, and ancestral trauma are manifesting in real time in your life in order to flip the script in some ways and change the trajectory of where you could be if you were unconscious, if that makes some sense. So by healing every day, we become conscious of the unconscious, and then we're able to become magicians and shape and form the way in which we want to live our lives. We can manifest our destiny, right? So, when you get into situations because of a lack of healing or a lack of awareness, what they do is it delays your healing. That's the whole purpose of karmic individuals, all of that type of stuff, right? And whether you know it or not, there are individuals that you may not know of that do benefit off of your trauma. Whether that's, within your family unit, it doesn't even matter. They benefit off of your trauma because by you being in that trauma, you're going to either have some type of addiction, you're going to either get caught up with like another energy vampire, you become some type of feeding source or energy source to some type of entity, system, individual, etc. Okay? So, when you don't do your healing, this is what ends up happening. So let's say, for instance, life cycles go in cycles of 7. So for those of you who understand biology, the body actually, all the cells within the human body, they regenerate themselves every 7 years. If you guys are familiar with psychology, I want you to look up Erickson's stages of development. He talks about the human life cycle goes in cycles of 7, right? So when you are going through traumatic or processes, you delay those cycles of healing and development. So then what ends up happening is like when you get to the next stage, you are kind of delayed a little bit because you were dealing with baggage and trauma from the previous stage. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you've gotten your diploma, you graduated, but you don't have all the tools and all the facts. So then you're playing catch up, and then you're having tower moments in that next stage that you have to go into because you didn't have the tools from the previous stage. Why? Because you were inundated with trauma and karmic energies. Right? I'm not saying that this is for every single circumstance, because I know sometimes we experience trauma or traumatic or karmic experiences in order to get us to grow. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about situations where somebody's toxic, but you get into that relationship. You do something with, let's say for instance, you get into doing a specific type of work, knowing that that work is attached to karma, whether that's drug trafficking or sex work or something like that. Right? You get into some type of like karmic activity where you're gang stalking people or doing whatever it is, that's karmic that that you should probably not be doing, right? What ends up happening is you delay your healing process. So now what ends up happening is, remember I talked about life going in stages. So you go 1 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, 21 to 28, that type of thing, 7 to 10 years. You're spending all of your 20s, right, healing from what you did when you were a teenager. You spend all of your 30s healing from what you did in your 20s. You spend all of your 40s healing from what you did in your 30s. You spend all of your 50s healing from what you did in your 40s and your 30s and your 20s and so on, all the unresolved trauma. So then what ends up happening is you're at a deficit now, because all that time that you spent healing from unnecessary trauma and karma and situations that you did not need to put yourself in, you're missing out on ascension. You're missing out on gaining knowledge. You're missing out on gaining wisdom, right? That's the price you pay for lack of healing. So a lot of the times you guys are like, when is their karma going to get their karma? Karma going to get their karma. They're already getting their karma in the form of their healing being delayed. They're not happy. Obviously not, because anybody that's healed, they don't act like that. And if they act like they're happy, they're like, dang, it looks like their life is going good. It's a facade. It's a false sense of happiness. You will never be happy trying to being involved in unresolved karmic debts or trying to create karma for other people and trauma for other people. What that does is it adds another, I will say it adds another sandbag, if that makes some sense, onto your person, into your energy field, and then it slows you down from where you need to get to. It slows down your trajectory. It blocks your trajectory, right? And then you get, basically, it's like something, you get trapped inside of a, you get, it's like a loop. You get trapped in like a loop because you're not learning that lesson and you haven't transcended that karmic cycle because you're still kind of trying to clean up and heal from trauma and karma from the previous cycle, if that makes some sense. So I just wanted to kind of put that theory out, not that theory, I just wanted to kind of put this concept out there for y'all in terms of like, don't delay your healing. And some of you guys, may be involved in some karmic or toxic situations where you're dealing with a person. Know that, if you continue to deal with these karmic and traumatic situations and these people, it's just delaying your process. So then when you get to the next level, you're missing tools that you needed to gain and develop and integrate into your psyche from the previous level, okay? So that's just the analogy that I kind of live by. I tell myself, you know what? I don't want to spend all of my 30s healing from what I did in my 20s. I told myself that when I was like 21. So I did what I needed to do to make sure that I was not creating more traumatic or karmic situations for myself in order to have that not be my reality now. Because now that I'm moving into a new cycle, a new phase into my life, I've learned my different type of lessons. Yes, there's going to be things from like childhood and whatnot that you're always going to have to heal from. But there are certain situations that I'm so happy that I didn't get myself out of, or I got myself out of before it was too late, so that I'm not dealing with a lot of trauma and karma now. That's why a lot of karmics, they operate the way that they do, because they're so filled with unresolved karma and trauma. When they come across you, who's like a higher vibrational being, and you've done a lot of your clearing work, and you're like a free vessel, it activates the demons that they are harboring within them. That's another thing too. Your lack of healing makes you a vessel and a conduit for dark entities. So just be careful, because that's how people get hijacked and then used by nefarious forces. So anyways, y'all, I just wanted to put that channeling out there. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.